The Card Sharp and Other Stories, a collection of murder, mystery, and mayhem, features 3 painstakingly researched historical stories by Eric B. Ruark. Antebellum and No God West of Hayes were originally published in Alfred Hitchcock's mystery magazine. They are all read by the author.
The Card Sharp, story by Eric B. Ruark. In 1854, a gambler/conman takes a Mississippi riverboat from St. Louis to New Orleans. He plans to relieve as many people as possible of their hard-earned gold. However, the arrival of the planter and his slave changes this gambler's plans. From his comfortable position in the barber's chair, Red McDaniels watched as the throngs of passengers and laborers jostled their way onto and off of the Queen of the River. He smiled at the circus-like atmosphere that infected the crowd as it milled along the riverbank. Above him, on the hurricane deck, the band played the latest toe-tapping songs. On the levee, men driving drays and wagons, and passengers and slaves pulling skids converged from every quarter, all trying to get themselves and their goods on board before the ship began its 1,200-mile journey from St. Louis to New Orleans. But Red wasn't so much interested in the freight as he was the people. As the barber neatly trimmed the back of his hair to meet the top of his paper collar, Red took note of everyone who crossed his line of vision. There were pilgrims of all sorts pushing their way across the stage towards the gilded staircase that climbed from the main deck to the boiler deck to the purser's office. Businessmen in top-quality Quaker-like suits pushed against Quakers in full solemn array. Backwoodsmen jostled against fine ladies. Ladies of a different sort coquettishly eyed Eastern-looking men wearing fancy ties. Buffalo hunters pushed past fortune hunters. Immigrants found places to nestle among the cotton bales. White people mixed with black people, free and bond, and with red people. From the small one-chair ship's barber shop, which was located next to the smoking saloon in which Red conducted his business, he watched the ebb and flow of the crowd with the eye of a connoisseur, and wondered, who will be sitting at my poker table this evening? Red favored poker over whist. With only 20 cards, face cards, aces, and tens, Red found poker a bona fide gold mine, something he could make a fortune at without getting his fingernails dirty. Oh, Red knew how to get his hands dirty. He had known what it was like to have rough, calloused hands and work up a long day's sweat. But then he met Big John. Big John taught him how to deal cards off the bottom of the deck, how to deal seconds, taught him how to mark a deck of cards so that when the edges were trimmed, the markings wouldn't be lost, taught him how to stack a deck of cards while shuffling and how to keep the deck stacked when someone else cut them. Big John also taught him, you can't cheat an honest man because an honest man won't play you. Reclining in the barber's chair, Red took his eyes off the crowd and allowed himself to luxuriate in the hot towel that the barber draped across his face to soften his beard. Red pictured the people in his mind and smiled. Below him on the main deck were legions of untended sheep that needed to be fleeced. Some wanted to be fleeced, some did not, but Red knew that every sheep must be sheared in order to allow for another season's growth of wool. Red listened to the methodic hiss of the barber's straight razor as it slid across the leather strop. How shall I play it tonight? 1,200 miles translates into a long time. There'll be lots of stops along the way. The population of the steamboat will change several times over. Do I play a table of transients, taking a little from each, or do I set up a long-term game, reeling in 1 or 2 people with lots of cash and keep them winning for several days before I pull the rug out from under them just before they disembark? The barber removed the towel and lathered Red's face with a soft badger hair brush. Maybe I could lure a planter type into the game before we get to Cairo. Lots of men like to play against planter types. Maybe I won't take the whole pot. Maybe I'll take just enough to pay my expenses for this trip. Maybe I'll let some rube take the whole pot and leave everybody with the impression that I play an honest game. Perception of honesty was important to Red. No one could know that he was a professional gambler. In the steamboat's elegant high-domed saloon, he must appear to be every inch the indigo and rice buyer he claimed to be. He knew that's why people sat at his table. They felt they could get an honest game from him. He made sure that no one ever walked away from one of his games feeling cheated. He made it a point not to take all their money. Big John had also taught him that if you strip a man of his money, you strip him of his dignity, and a man what's lost his dignity is just as apt to come back at you with a knife or a gun as for another game. The barber deftly scraped the day's growth of whiskers from Red's cheeks, and then doused him with the ship's signature aftershave lotion of witch hazel, rosewater, and cloves. Then he removed the bib and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?